Alright, it's starting. Now, there's some stuff on the board. We are doing something called an annuity. I've already mentioned previously the term superannuation. Can someone briefly tell me what their understanding of superannuation is in Australia? Any idea what that is? No? Yes?
The money allocated to you once you retire from working.
Yeah, it's the term using it after you retire is correct. But the allocated to you is a bit weird. Whenever you earn, so the rules now is if you're over 18, or if you're under 18 and work more than 30 hours a week, on top of your normal pay, you're supposed to get 11.5% of that pay, so over a tenth of that pay, on top, put into a little account called a superannuation account every paycheck. And that builds up over time. You can't touch that money, right? The only times that you've been allowed to touch that money was during COVID. People were allowed to withdraw 10 grand from their superannuation twice to help them survive. And also the other time you're allowed to do superannuation, use your superannuation money, is if you have some major injury and you can't work anymore, then you sort of need some money to be able to support you. Otherwise, you're going to just keep putting money into that superannuation account until you retire. And hopefully, this giant load of money that you've been forced to save, over time, you can live off of that instead of relying on the government support. That's what superannuation is, okay? Now, annuation comes from the idea of an annuity. In finance, what is an annuity? It's something where you are putting small payments over time, so the amount of the account grows because of your payments, and it also grows due to compounding interest. Okay, so that's what an annuity is, and the superannuation is an example of that. So for year 12 and for you guys, you have to be able to deal with two types of annuity. You can either start with nothing to reach a specific goal by making regular payments. So what does that mean? Can someone remind me how to access TVM Solver on the calculator? Yes? Apps. Enter. Good. So if you are starting with nothing, your present value is going to be 0. If you're putting regular payments into the bank, where is that money going? It's going from you into the bank. So PMT is going to be negative. You're trying to grow this account to some large amount of money that the bank pays you at the end. Therefore, FV is going to be a positive number because that's what you're going to get paid at the end. That's how an annuity works that starts with nothing. And please remember, this is the investment interest formula. Interest for an investment is equal to FV minus any starting amount and all the payments in total. So let's do this example. Lewis deposits $600 each year. So he's only doing it once a year into an account that pays 6% interest compounding annually. Find the value of the account after 15 years. So with these questions from now, because I've shown you how to use TVM all the way to year 12 if you do general maths, as soon as it says compounding interest, TVM Solver. How do I show my working for TVM Solver questions? You write what you're entering. N, I, PV, PMT, FV, PY, and CY. Okay, so what is the interest rate for Lewis's arrangement here? 6. Do I need to convert that in TVM Solver? I just put 6 there. PV, does it say anything about Lewis starting with a giant chunk of money? No, so PV is going to be 0. How much is he putting in every year? Sorry? And what sign would that be for the purpose of the calculator? Negative, because it's going from his pocket into the calculator. The question is asking find the value of the account after 15 years. So what would I put in this FV here to indicate that's what I'm working at?
Oh, the stars.
Stars, good. Little asterisk. PY and CY. These are the same unless the question says something different. So interest is compounding annually, and how often is he depositing into the account? Annually again. So what would PY and CY be? How many times does a year happen in 1 year? Once. And now, so always leave N until the end, because now you can only work out N when you know what PY and CY are. So don't try to do N first. If my units of time are 1 year, and I want the time duration to be 15 years, what is N going to be? 15. So I have everything in here that I need. I just need to solve for that. So on the calculator, 15, 6, nothing, negative 600, solving for FV, 1 and 1. So alpha, enter. That tells me that at the end of 15 years, $13,965.58 to 2 decimal points in the account after 15 years. Which is a nice chunk of money. Okay? So can you get that example working out? And then I'll do B. Then I'll do one more example with starting with an investment, and then you've got the double to work on stuff. So just the example for A, please. All right, let's consider how much interest the bank gave Lewis over this time. What number in all of this stuff that I've worked out is how much money Lewis gets paid at the end? Which of those numbers is that? Sorry, FV, good. So he ends up getting $13,965.58. But then you are taking away, because it's an investment, you put money in, it grows, but you had to put money in the first place to get it to grow. So the interest that you earn is the difference between those. So to work out the amount of money that he put in, how much was he putting in every year? And how many times did he do that? 15 times. So 600 times by 15. Can someone remind me, how do I get to the home screen on TBM Solver without turning it off and turning it on again? Second mode to quit. So 13,965.58. Take away, and please start getting confident with using the calculator. Unlike the Apple calculator or the ones that are online, like the Google one, which are, I would say, are like dumb phone, Nokia 3310 level of calculator. This calculator knows bed mass, and you can use brackets. You can put in exactly what you're working out here is, and you can trust it to get the right answer. Unlike, you can't really trust the Apple one to do the right thing, okay? So you go bracket, I'm literally going to put bracket there. You can see the bracket signs there. 600 times by 15 payments of 600. And so the bank, he's getting basically $4,965.58. Yeah, it takes a long time, but that's better than not getting anything on that money, just from the bank, okay? So can you get those two examples down, please? Then we'll do an initial investment, and then I will leave you to it. Give me a minute for that example. And we'll start with an investment. No, I'll move because no one seems to be writing. Right, the only difference with starting with an initial investment is that PV is going to be negative. Okay? So with the annuity where you started off with nothing, the only payments you're making are the regular payments. You didn't start off with anything in the bank. If you're starting with an initial investment, PV is going to be negative. PMT is also going to be negative, and it's going to grow to a certain amount of money that the bank will give you, so FV will be positive. Okay, that is the only difference with this. So get that little bit down, and then write the example, and then I'll work through the example with you quickly. We're not going to do this thing in red because that's like that's the hardest stuff they have to do in year 12 for finance. Although I'll stop the recording and see if you can actually answer it. I'd be interested if you can answer year 12 exam questions at this point in time, because that would be, that would give me a reason to give my year 12s this year a kick up the butt. Okay? So this isn't out of the realms of possibility. Often people have grandparents and stuff that want to give them inheritance, that sort of thing. So you could start with a giant chunk of money. Or you could sell a car. Sell all your Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Sell your Epic Roblox account. Some desperate child. Is that a question? All right, let's see what John did. John made an initial investment of $5,000 into a savings account, and then he kept depositing $250 at the end of each month. All these numbers are quite reasonable. Maybe not for a kid just starting to earn their money, but someone on a really low income would be at $250 a month is not harsh. That's like a coffee every day, okay? The account paid 8% interest compounding monthly. Find the account balance after 10 years. N, I, PV, PMT, FV, P, Y, C, Y. Leave N alone for now. Answer the stuff that you can get straight away. What is the interest rate of John's account? Do I need to convert? PV. Is he starting off with a certain amount of money in the account? What sign would I put that in as? Good. Negative $5,000. He's making regular payments into it monthly. What sign would that be? Negative 250. FV is what I'm solving for. I want to know what it grows up to. PY and CY. Compounding monthly and paid monthly. So what would PY and CY be? 12. What I'm telling you is that SACE has said PY and CY will always be the same, but what I hope to have shown you at the end of last term was that in real life they can be different. Okay? Now we can work out what N is. Because PY is 12, it's going to be 12 times by something. How many years does he want to do this for? 10. So it's going to be 120. So now I can go apps, finance, TVM, 120. 8, negative $5,000, negative 250, 12. Please notice when you put PY in as 12, that even the calculator wants them to be the same. See, I pressed enter, it automatically made them the same. So alpha, enter. So that tells me that there would be, if you were to do this, 56,838. $34.71 to 2DP in the account after 10 years. And let's quickly answer B while we're here. Interest. What did the account grow up to? Is that what we just found? Yeah. 56,834.71 minus. Is the amount of money that John's put into the account, is that a bit more complicated than Lewis's version? Because he put a chunk in and he also put regular payments. So what was the chunk that he put in? $5,000 plus how many payments of 250 did he do? Not 12. 120 payments of 250. So, like I said, with this calculator, you can trust it to do bed maths. Second mode to quit out. 5,6,834.71 minus, in brackets, $5,000. And now you don't need to cover your butt and do extra brackets here because the calculator will do bed maths properly. So when I do this plus 120 lots of 250, you can trust that the calculator is going to do the multiplication first before it adds it here, unlike some of the basic calculators you might have used previously. So if I enter that, you would earn $21,834.71 in interest from the bank, which is a nice chunk. Why? Because you started off with a giant amount in the first place. 8% of a big number over time growing continues to be a bigger number, and it grows even bigger over time. Okay? And I'll stop the recording there so you can